Hey guys, Scary Stories here. I hope you're doing well. Tonight, I have 2 stories for you. These ones are interesting. I don't know if they really happened. It could be a troll. The guy in the second one did say that he's perfectly sane, which, that speaks for itself a little bit. But they're fun. I tried to have fun with them. I enjoyed them. They're apparently true, which is always a plus. I tried to read them as close as possible to how they were written. So there might be a little cursing in it. I think the first guy curses a lot. So, warning for that. Yeah, keeping it the way it was written, I thought was part of the charm of these stories. So, hopefully you'll enjoy them as much as I did. Let's get into them. So we were hanging around and smoking weed in an abandoned Tuscan villa we found on Google Maps, when suddenly we start to hear someone crying. I almost had a panic attack as this titanic, pale, insanely anorexic teenager sees us sitting in the villa's garden. He's wearing nothing but a pair of black pants, and I could clearly see his entire vein wireframe covering all his body like he had no actual flesh. It was disgusting. I could see his intestines twitching in his skeletal hip bones. He started shouting with the deepest voice I'd ever heard. I'm not Italian, so I didn't understand a single word. As we were running, I turn around and see his eyes glowing against the first morning's light as a moth. How the fuck is this possible? And I thought I was hallucinating, but my girlfriend also saw him, and I had to calm her down after that because she was simply terrified. Sadly, we were in the countryside and had nowhere to run. The closest town was 1.5 miles away. Nobody knew how to speak English, and people we were camping with thought we just smoked too much. Can you guys believe us? I'm genuinely freaked out.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Everybody thinks we're going insane. So, in the comments we have the top one saying, "Oh no, don't worry, that's just Jerry." An obvious answer. But the next one says, "There are 2 other encounters I've read on here where people have encountered these extremely thin beings. One man was a postal worker who went into a government building one day and was surrounded by these extremely thin beings. They were all apparently wearing black suits. It was a mixture of these thin beings and just regular men in black. The next few days he got reassigned to a different route and told to keep his mouth shut. So, I can definitely identify with your encounter. Did anyone else see this being other than just you 2? I would guess you guys definitely saw something you shouldn't have that morning." Oh, and there's actually an update from the original poster. Update. We went to the church nearby where French priests study. They told us to stay away from that building, as it's been in ruins for almost 50 years now, and that some deranged person's living in there. I'm just so curious, but I don't want to find it again. My heart still pounds if I think about it. Just fucking scary as shit. I'm sorry, this guy curses a lot apparently. How is he not dying from starvation? I guess that someone must bring him food? Maybe a relative of his? Then someone says call the police and tell them to do a search. Send in someone brave, with a live streaming camera. Anything. I hate that these things always go nowhere. Well, I don't think the police are gonna live stream it to Reddit, but yeah. Okay, well, yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. It's a interesting little Reddit thread, whatever you call it, little post on Reddit. Be honest, I don't think it's real. Well, I don't know. He probably saw someone, but I don't think it was a 7-8 foot tall, translucent alien with see-through skin. But maybe, I don't know. I guess I'm not a biologist. I don't know. Maybe if you live in an abandoned ruin for years, your skin becomes translucent. Someone says, pale giant people reminds me of the Old Testament Nephilim type material. I don't know. Moving on. I don't expect anyone to believe this. I don't blame you. Sometimes I'm not even sure myself. Regardless, it's 100% true. I was driving in the woods years ago. I'm pretty familiar with the area. To this day, I can drive out to the exact spot this happened. It was summer, and I drive a convertible, so the top was down. It was maybe somewhere around 2 a.m.-ish. It was a very clear night, but it had stormed earlier. Not really relevant to the story, just giving as much detail as I can. On the horizon of the right side of my car, I can see flashes of amber light in the distance. At first I thought it was an emergency vehicle, but I know the area well, and there was no road where the light was coming from. Nothing but woods for miles, in fact. I almost crashed the car trying to figure out what the lights were. There was a tree down in the road and I almost hit it. I had to stop the car to turn around. It's a 2-lane road with no lights nearby whatsoever. Nothing but the stars and my headlights. As I turn my car around, in the middle of the road, my headlights land on this thing, I guess. Whatever it was 8 feet tall at least. Well, at least that's my best guess. It was much taller than me, and I'm 6 feet. I stopped the car. Why? I couldn't tell you. I don't know myself. But I did, and I shut off the lights. And this thing, it was definitely humanoid, but definitely not human. Had some sort of luminescence about it. Its skin glowed a dull, white light. The thing started to move towards my car and was making terrible noises. Hoarse, moaning noises. That's the best way I can describe it. As it got closer to me, I could make out its features. I wear glasses and my prescription's very outdated. I know, bad driving at night like that, but anyways. Again, it was very tall and very, very thin. I remember thinking that if it was human, it would have starved to death long ago. Its arms were out of proportion, as was its neck. They were abnormally long, its arms nearly down to its knees. It had wrinkled, worn, leathery-looking skin, which was the purest white I've ever seen. The wrinkles of its skin made it look impossibly old. It folded over itself again and again. The best way to describe it would be like looking at some combination of maggots, birch bark, and wet newspaper. Like if you cut your finger and wore a bandage for too long. Then you take the bandage off and the skin is sickly white and wrinkled. That, but everywhere. And the closer it got, the more I could see. Its eyes, or apparently the lack thereof, they just looked like large, deep, dark holes. Its mouth was crooked and way too wide. If it had ears, the corners of its mouth would be right up to them. And the moaning, limping, shuffling thing came too close for comfort, and finally, I had seen enough. I started the car and took the Nope train right out of there. I drove 90 all the way home. I'm assuming that's miles. In hindsight, I regret leaving. I had the strong impression after the fact that the thing was injured or sick, or maybe even dying. It didn't look well, whatever it was, and I think maybe it wanted some help. I hope it did find help, or had at least come to a swift end, as it was obviously suffering. A little bit of background. This was in Michigan, and myself, I've been employed in the past as a paramilitary contractor, which means I've had plenty of psych evaluations mandatory for the job. I'm perfectly sane, except for the chronic insomnia, and I absolutely do not do drugs other than cigarettes and the very occasional beer. Anyways, this is my story. Like I said, I don't expect you to believe it, but it's the honest truth. I guess I just really want to know what this thing was. Well, there's 2 stories about really skinny, possibly alien humanoids that people have had. Apparently it's more common than you think. I thought they were pretty silly. I thought they were pretty fun, so I wanted to share them with you guys. I tried to read them as they were written and not change up the words too much, because I thought that was part of the fun of it. Kind of the exaggeration of some of the features of these creatures and stuff like that, even if it kind of repeats itself a little bit. But yeah, have you ever encountered one of these creatures? Really tall, skinny, translucent white thing? Have you ever had any alien encounters? Again, I've said a few times, but I'd like to read more alien encounter stories, so if you know of any dope websites or subreddits or anything like that where they're prevalent, or I don't know, feel free to share them with me down below. But yeah, a little bit of fun. Hopefully I don't mean any offense by reading these or maybe exaggerating them a little bit or calling them silly. I know they're probably not silly if these really happen to those people, but I hope you're doing well. I hope you enjoyed the stories tonight. If you like them, maybe give the video a like. If you really like the video, maybe consider subscribing. And if you really want to help me out, maybe look over to the right, and if you see one of my videos over there, give it a click. Maybe watch that one too. Helps out the algorithm and gets my videos shown to more people. But that's all I have tonight. I hope you're treating yourself well, and I hope you have a good night. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.